So a common question I get is, Owen, how do I transition from being a creator to escaping the permanent underclass and launching apps? If you're new to the channel, welcome. My name is Owen Nurmanen. I've been a UGC creator for the past few years, and now I launch my own apps. Most recently, Artec has made me over $100,000 in revenue. Today, I'm going to share with you the exact framework I used to transition from being that creator with that content creator skill set, which is super important, to launching your own apps, so that instead of just getting paid a fraction of what you're owed, you're making all of the money. And I'm going to go over simple questions like, how do I build an app if I'm non-technical? How do I find the right app idea to even launch? And a bunch of other questions like that later in the video. So stick around till the end. So jumping right into it, my first step in the process is doing something called content market fit. So if you're a social media creator, you obviously know what content is going viral pretty much every single day. These are trends or niches or topics or news cycles. Anything that's going viral right now is extremely important for you to pay attention to. Instead of building the product and hoping you can make it go viral, you want to find the content that's already going viral that you can easily plug a product into so that you can grow your app without having to be super smart. I'll give you an example of how this would work. So right now, something that's going extremely viral is Lone Star ticks, alpha-gal syndrome. Basically, a lot of fear is taking over the internet with how many ticks are transferring alpha-gal syndrome, which stops people from, it makes people allergic to red meat. So if you see all that content going out, you should think to yourself, this is a very viral niche. I'm gonna go do a little bit of market research and see if there's an app that's already doing well. I went ahead and went in the App Store and looked and searched up tick, and there's a tick identifier app doing over $100,000 a month in revenue. So now you have proof of concept and you know the content's going very viral already. So what you can do is pay these people or make the content yourself around ticks so that you can launch your app. I'll have some links in the description of UGC videos that I've currently used with our own creators to help my app hit over $100,000 in revenue. So once you are aware, so step one, once you're aware of what is going viral, try to find a product that you can plug into that content. Usually, these are very simple consumer apps that have one core feature. So for instance, for that tick app, what I would build would be an app that takes a picture of a tick, tells you its risk and how dangerous it is depending on where you found it, and then also connections to the closest lab so that you can send that tick off to have it scanned and make sure that you're safe. Ticks also can carry Lyme disease, which is an extremely bad disease to have, and it can be activated anytime throughout your life and have lifelong consequences. So people that are familiar with it are very motivated to go download an app like this. Now, the reason why I start here with content market fit is because you're not reinventing the wheel. You're taking two things that already work. You're finding a viral concept that's extremely easy to replicate, and then you're finding proof of concept as well that it's already working in the App Store. So now you can just make a competitor app and take whatever's currently in the App Store and just make it better. This is the easiest way to get started with building your own apps as a UGC creator because you already understand content very well. Now you just need to take a product that's already working and make it a little bit better. The first thing you need to do is get proof of concept for your new app and make sure that this thesis is actually working. Once you have a couple viral videos and you can see real traffic going to your app and you're making money, then you can bring in a designer to make it prettier, or you can bring in a developer to work on it and make sure it's optimized. But my recommendation is buying an Apple developer account, which is $99 per year, and then buying something like a Claude Code plan so that you can spend $100 and have AI build the entire app for you. If that sounds scary or daunting as a creator, I understand, but you have to understand as well, AI is not where it was 2 or 3 years ago. A good AI model like Claude Code's Opus 4.7 can essentially one-shot a lot of these consumer apps if you build a detailed enough prompt. In terms of the backend and running everything, just ask Claude Code the recommended backend. This is not going to be the way that your app operates forever, but it's good enough to get it live into the App Store. So what I would recommend, and this is super important when you're trying to learn Claude Code or Codex or Cursor, any of these IDE tools, what you want to do is have two things open. You want to chat on one end, like a Chrome browser Claude chat, and then on the other end, you want to have the actual IDE open, whether this is the Claude Code Mac app or Codex as an app or Cursor. So you want to have both of these. And what you're going to do is tell the IDE, which is Claude Code, and give it very detailed information on what you're trying to do. So for instance, for the tick app, I would just start with, I'm Owen, I'm a UGC creator. I want to build an app around identifying ticks and then giving people the right information about how dangerous those ticks are based on location. and what their next steps should be if they were to find one of these on their pets or on themselves. This should be a relatively simple app, but should have good tracking and all the information that people need. So give it like this long detailed prompt, type it out for a few minutes or whatever, and put this into Claude Code, and also preface this with, I'm non-technical, I've never built an app before, and I need help designing the front end and back end. So put all of that information into the prompt, and it'll literally walk you through all of these different things. It's actually very inexpensive to get an app live into the App Store if you do it this way. It's not going to be great, and it will have many bullet holes, I guess, or like things that need to be fixed down the line, but it's good enough for a proof of concept. The reason why I don't recommend a waitlist or something like that is because if you tell me on a social media video that there's an app to solve this problem, then I'm not going to go search it up on Google. I'm going to go to the App Store. So you need an actual app that's live in the App Store. Any questions that you have at all with Claude Code or Cursor or Codex, by the way, I do think Claude Code is the most user-friendly at this point. Codex is pretty good too. All of that information that you don't understand, screenshot it and drag and drop it into the chat that you have with Claude, the chat on the web. And just say, hey, explain this to me in a 5th grade reading level. I'm non-technical, I don't understand what it means, what do I do? And Claude will be like, do this, do that, and then you go back to it and you answer it that way. So they're kind of communicating with each other, and that's how you can learn. Anytime you have a question, make sure you're actually asking Claude, what does this mean? What is a backend? What is Supabase? What's the difference between Supabase and Firebase? All these things sound complex, but they're actually really not. You've just never learned them before. So at this point, continue to talk with chat, and it'll walk you through different things that you need to do in order to get this app live into the App Store. You should be able to do it under $250, no problem. This should also probably only take you 1 to 2 days. At this point, your new goal is to have something that's live that people can go to. After that, you are going to get to marketing. You need to communicate your product, and this is how I personally would do that if I was starting out with $0. Number one, I would try to find any of my friends or anyone that I see online making content in this app niche, whatever it is that you decide. And honestly, ask them for a favor. Say, hey man, I'm trying to launch this app and it's pretty good, but I have no idea if people will like it yet. Could you honestly just help me out? And if you're a decent person, you're gonna have people in your life that are willing to do that, especially if you're a creator. You should have the network and connections. The second thing, that should be like your initial thing. The second thing you can do is try to pay creators to market it for you off of a performance basis. When I started my app, Artec, I didn't know if people would really like it or gravitate towards it. So I asked a creator, Josh, hey Josh, I don't have a lot of money to pay for this until I know that it's working. Would you be willing to do a $2 CPM with a cap of up to 500,000 views? So if it goes super viral, the most I would pay is $1,000. But with the paywall and everything that we have set up, that would mean if we got 1 million views on a video and it was a UGC video promoting the app, we would probably make like 10,000 plus from it, right? So that's a very simple payment structure. There are other payment structures. And again, if you have questions about this, message me on Instagram at Owen Nurminen. I can send you my actual payment structure that we use internally and also that Artec, our web app, uses. By the way, Artec is an app that helps new app founders and vibe coders actually distribute their apps on autopilot. All you do is give Artec your URL, it builds out the campaign for you, finds and hires the creators for you as well, and then we'll pay out those creators depending on how they perform. So you don't have to do anything anymore to promote your app. The link for Artec will be linked below. Again, this is the best product that I've ever been a part of, and you can't vibe code it. It's extremely technical, but it's fantastic for marketing apps, and it's part of the reason why our other consumer apps have been able to grow 6 figures in revenue. So now at this point, you have an app live in the App Store. You have some sort of growth system early on. And again, it's so important to really focus on the growth. If you want examples of good UGC implementations and converting content that will actually drive users to your app, check the description, or in this video, I'll have some links to videos that have converted really well for us too. There's a couple things that I haven't talked about yet in this video, and that's really the paywall and the onboarding flow. What I recommend for both of these is honestly going into the App Store and looking at apps that are already doing well in the niche that you're associated with and borrowing those onboarding flows. I wouldn't make a crazy 30-step onboarding flow like you'll see in a lot of top apps like Cal AI, because right now you don't want to discourage users, and the sunk cost fallacy may not necessarily work for you like it does for apps with a ton of social proof. So what I would do is focus on the real pain points that they're having, or whatever specific pain point you're talking about, in the content is the same thing that should be in the onboarding flow. So they feel it and they feel like it's meant for them. That's number one. For the paywall, you can use something like Superwall. So there's this thing called a software development kit or an SDK, and it's basically some lines of code that you just implement into the app. So on Superwall, if you're non-technical, you can edit the paywall and make something without having to be technical. And then you just add the Superwall SDK into the app and connect the product from Apple to Superwall. This is very easy. Maybe it sounds complex, but again, if you just ask Claude Code, it'll do it for you. So that would be the onboarding flow, the paywall, and then the app, again, should be a very simple consumer app with one core hero feature that you can market well. And at this point, you have your MVP, the app's live in the App Store, and you're getting content to start going out. If you're going to pay influencers and you have the budget to do it, I shouldn't say this, and app founders really get upset when I share secrets online, but I don't necessarily care. There's this concept called the minimum view clause. A lot of people use this. It's not rocket science anymore. It is more public. But if you're paying an influencer, you want to pay them based off, well, two things. You don't just want to pay for one video because it can flop. So you want to try to get 3 to 4 videos a month from an influencer. The second thing is you want to pay them a dollar amount per 1,000 views. To be profitable in consumer apps, typically that's around a $3 CPM, which means you want to pay $3 for every 1,000 views. So if they get 100,000 views, you're willing to pay $300 for that video. So you want to find creators in this niche that are averaging high views, 50 to 100K or more, and you want to assume you're going to get 3 to 4 videos a month from them. So let's say they're averaging 100,000 views and you're going to get 4 videos a month. That's 400,000 views, and you want to pay a $3 CPM for 400,000 views. That's $1,200 total. So what you can do is break it down and be like, hey, I'd love to work with you. We're willing to pay you $1,200 or more every single month just to promote this app. And that gets your foot in the door. But if you tell them the high end like that, we're willing to pay over $1,200 for you to promote this app, then your foot's in the door. And then when you're actually on call, it's very important to build a relationship with influencers, get on a call, explain the situation and what you're trying to do. Then you can kind of negotiate a little bit more. But if you tell them, hey, this is our budget right now, we're an early stage app, we're only gonna be profitable at this number. If it works out, we wanna do this with you every month. So it's only $1,200 right now, but by the end of the year, we're gonna have paid you $15,000 or more. If the app grows, we're willing to pay you more too. This could be one of your main brand deals working with us. We're just early. And we would love for you to be a part of this longer term. However you can convey that, and again, the more social skills you have, the more relationships you've built in the space, the more easy this will be. If you have a personal brand on Instagram, that's where I recommend DMing these influencers the most. It carries a lot of weight. I only have 40,000 followers on Instagram, but I'm able to sign influencers relatively easily. That's the game. That's how you try to gamify it. Instead of paying $1,000 per post, you're still gonna pay them $1,200, but it's going to be for 3 or 4 posts, which your chances of hitting those views will go super viral. And again, I talked about that minimum view clause. What some people do as well, I don't necessarily do this because it is another step, is say, we'll pay you 25% of that 1,200 upfront on delivery of the first video. And then once you hit 400,000 views, we'll pay you the last $900. This is very difficult, but technically, it's only a profitable deal if those views are hit. If the views aren't hit, then it's not necessarily worth it for the app to do that. But the influencer doesn't want to just make 4 videos or 3 videos and only get paid $300. So you have to kind of hide that, work with them, build relationships, and be good at sales. Influencer marketing is hard if you're doing it that route, but it is also doable. That's how apps like Cal.ai have scaled to close to a 9-figure exit, allegedly. Now, once you've done this process and you are getting users and paying customers through your app, by the way, I would also recommend a 3-day free trial to start. It's a very simple thing to set up in your Superwall. So once you set this up, you're going to be at a place where you're getting a lot of users and feedback on your app. And hopefully you've set up your paywall and everything well, and you are making money too. And this is where you need to go hire someone to actually make your app more robust, or a designer to make it really pretty. Because then the app can have a little bit of alpha or K factor and be moving by itself if the app is great and people will share it with their friends and family. If it feels too vibe coded, it will have a lot less of that K factor. So once you have some motion and momentum, it's important not to just pocket all the cash right away. Try to make it a little bit better and keep it moving. Now, consumer apps, again, are very easy to spin up, so it's worth putting multiple shots on goal here. But you'll know in the first couple weeks of trying to promote something if it works or if it doesn't, or if creators are working or if they're not. And don't spend too much time working with apps or creators and stuff that are not working. in my mind. There's too much opportunity right now. Trends and stuff change all the time. And the second go around or third go around of you building an app might actually be the one that takes off, because now you have the experience, you know what to look for, you went wrong or things you didn't think of. For instance, my first app, Covenant, which was a Bible app, it did fail. It did not do well. And that's because I thought it would be really easy to grow Christian content on TikTok with UGC, but it wasn't, because our content was getting throttled because at the time, TikTok, China, they put kind of a negative, we would get thousands of likes on a video, but it would get capped at like 10K views with great creators. That to me is throttling. And I didn't foresee that because I knew other apps had grown off Christian content, but they primarily worked with influencers. So it was this weird dichotomy of that was not something that I paid attention to. And it really transitioned to the next app, Artec, which is why we're more successful now. By the way, if you want full data analysis, what I would recommend doing is using the Artec web app. If you put in your URL, it'll pull up UGC videos and influencer videos promoting your competitor's app. So we're constantly searching all the viral data on TikTok for you to constantly see all the best videos that your competitors are currently pushing and how much they're even potentially paying for those videos. So if you want a full breakdown on how to market your app, what your competitors are currently doing, and get you the creators to actually do it for you and give you the whole cost benefit analysis, Artec does all of that for you agentically. If you guys have any other questions at this point, by the way, feel free again to message me on Instagram. My name is Owen. I've been in the UGC space for years now, and I'm more than happy to help anyone. Thank you guys for watching, and we'll talk soon.